Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Chris Grant. Some of you guys might know me by DJ Valence, others through Heavy Heads Records, but I also do comedy. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of give people a glimpse of what's going on in the comedy scene and just all kinds of stuff. Right now, I've got Brayden Jones with me.
How's it going?
And if you can't tell, we're coming to you from the Elvis Room over at the Rail Haven Motel in Springfield, Missouri. Elvis Presley himself stayed in this room. Did you know that?
That's super cool. It's also super cool having this car couch that I can't quite figure out where to put my arm on it.
It's super aesthetically pleasing, but it is uncomfortable. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it looks super sick. But I will adjust many times while we are here. I promise.
So. So yeah, this is Brayden Jones. He came onto the comedy scene a couple months ago. He'll tell you exactly here in a minute, but man, he just come on. He came out of nowhere. He's super funny. We're just gonna get into where he's from, what he's done, what he's gonna do. So Brayden, where are you from, man?
I'm from Purdy, Missouri. It's a little small town just between Monette and Cassville. If you've ever been, about an hour outside of Springfield. Came up here for college, just kind of, stuck around. Springfield seemed okay, so I figured I'd try it out a bit longer.
Did you have any problems adjusting to the big city here? Or
it feels lame to say because now that I've gotten older and I've lived here for years, like compared to some like larger cities like a Chicago or something, it's not like anything crazy. But yeah, weirdly enough, there was a lot of weird differences.
Well, how did it feel like actually getting to choose between gas stations?
Yeah, that was insane. What was
no,
even
just playing, man.
What was even weirder was multiple stoplights between gas stations.
Yeah,
because in Purdy we have one. So yeah, no, it's nuts.
Went to school here.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Drury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were in a fraternity over there, which led to you getting into comedy, and that leads to me asking you to tell me more about that story.
Yeah. So yeah, I was in a fraternity during college. There were two separate occasions where the social chair of our chapter got in contact with the Blue Room, which was at Billiards at the time, 2017-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Got in contact with them, said, hey, we want to do, kind of an event there, have a couple of our fraternity members come over, do, some sets or whatever. I think it ended up being just like me and then my date did one, and then like one other brother was all that actually like went on stage. But it went fun. It went fine. I loved it. I always kind of had the itch after that to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I graduated, and I kind of fell into that mindset of like, well, I need to get real life started first, and then 4 years passed by, and I was like, I'm still trying to get life started first. And then this past fall, I was just like, I'm done biding time. I want to get started.
So I'm going to stop you for just a second.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're going to check in with our commentator here.
Okay.
And we're going to see how this interview is going, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, sounds great.
Hey, EP, we doing okay over there?
We're dangerously low on bubbles. Please spin more bubbles.
Okay, so the Blue Room, we talked about that a little bit, before this, and both of you, I'm getting ready to talk to EP, Erik Paulson, and both of you talked about when the Blue Room was, when the stage was on the south wall. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was where it was at first, because that's where all the bands used to play.
Right.
So
it's super jarring. It used to be that south facing wall, like you said, and then I went into to Billiards back in November. It's an entirely different wall, entirely different setup.
Mm-hmm.
That alone was jarring, let alone the fact that it had been half a decade since I'd been there. That was an adjustment for sure. Trying to get my bearings about me.
I can't believe I forgot about that because I was around at the time, and I remember the move and just seeing that place take shape and how it went was really, really cool. And of course, we got to give a shout out to Levi and Layton with Corner Pocket, which is there now. And I think that's where I saw you perform the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's this guy think he is? Coming in here being that funny the first time. And it's been really cool since.
Well,
So-
I appreciate you having that memory of my first time. My very, very first time back after a couple of years wasn't my favorite.
Wait a minute. No. We got to talk about this because I remember now. Oh, boy. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, it was a toughie.
No, I do. I remember your first set, and it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. So there is actually a patron.
I'm going to forget. Hang on. No,
Okay.
you say that, and then I'll say what I'm going to say.
Okay.
But
There's actually a patron that is there like every week. And I cannot remember her name, but she laughs at everybody's jokes.
Yep.
And she's got a very, very loud laugh. We love her being there. We appreciate her being there. But there is nothing more daunting than knowing she's in the room and hearing silence. And that is what I got my very first 5 minutes there.
I think okay. So here's where I'm coming in with this because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I just remembered this. I remember the first time, and he bombed, and which I bomb. EP bombs. Everybody bombs. But what was funny about that is I also bombed. I think that night.
Oh yeah.
And Brayden came up to me, and he was looking for advice, and he said, "Man, I just want to how'd you handle bombing so well?" I don't think he said it like that, but I think that's what he meant, and I love that memory. It's great.
I also gave you a couple days to decompress about it. I asked you about it at a different mic. I let it simmer a
That
little.
just means you thought it was even worse than it was. Thanks, appreciate that.
Hey, we all bombed. Everybody bombed. I very much did. I'll never forget. Katie still was after me, and she goes up there, and she's like, "Hey, everybody, give it up for the comedy version." And like the room loved it.
Yep.
And I was like, I didn't get any laughs, but at least a reference about me did. So I helped someone else's joke. Not that Katie needs help; she's hilarious.
Oh yeah, she's great, and she's actually going to be headlining a show that we're doing. So we'll talk about that later too. Yeah, it's funny how just a short little thing can make the room explode, right?
Yeah, sometimes all it takes. No.
I'm kind of referring to something that's happened in the local scene. Something was said one night. Somebody kind of went after you, that's comedy, But when you go after somebody, you have to respect or expect a response.
Absolutely.
For instance, I've called Russell Henley. What did I say? Jay and Silent Bob at the same time is what he looks like. The other day, he looked at me and called me Rob Dyrdek if he was poor. So if you're going to dish it out, you got to take it, and it does.
Right.
I fist bumped him. I was like, "That's great."
No.
Like
they're both good bits.
Yeah,
they're both very funny.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
So, and apparently, somebody told me that at one time Dusty Slay said the same thing that I did. So.
About Jay and Silent Bob?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So Dusty, if I'm stealing your joke, I'm so sorry. I love you, and it was not intended. So, but yeah, so you guys had a little comedy beef. Did he start it?
So technically, I mean, I'll be honest. I technically started it, but it was not intentional. I've gone to plenty of mics, and people, us comics, we get to know each other because we all travel a lot. So there'll be little barbs here and there, stuff like that. Yeah, and I just went on stage once, and granted, I might have gone a bit farther than just a barb.
No, I remember now. You were there. Yeah, you went pretty far.
Yeah, it might have been like 3 of my 5 minutes or something. Who's keeping track?
Gosh.
And yeah, I don't know. Stuff just kept coming to me while I was up there, and I just kept rolling with it. Because in comedy you're supposed to be in the moment,
right?
And I probably lived in the moment a little too fast, too furious, and yeah.
I was looking. I remember that now, and I was looking at you going, "This is going to be fun, and this is going to be interesting because he is pretty new and he's going after somebody, and he's taking a risk right now. We'll see how this plays out." But I was a little concerned at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then he came back. The next week, right?
Yeah. I had multiple people tell me like he had been scheming it for that week. So yeah, he had some material. Came back, said I look like Pinky and the Brain, or the Brain from Pinky and the Brain, which I do.
I looked it up. See, that was the thing. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
After I looked it up, I was like, he's got a point.
It's a visual gag, but once you see the picture,
Yeah.
it pays off. No,
Yeah.
me and the brain are twins, and yeah, no, he had some good bits. I think I was about his entire set the following week.
Yeah,
So-
that's accurate.
Yeah, it was cool. And then he just made the I got super lucky because I didn't plan anything. I thought it was over.
Hmm.
And he comes on stage to do his bit, and he's just wearing a shirt that says "Crybaby,"
I think it was a band, right?
or a show maybe.
Something, yeah,
It's
something like that.
It's a EP.
Not a fan.
So you said one brief thing, which was
I was like, "You've had a whole week to write all those jokes, and you didn't have the foresight to realize your shirt says "Crybaby." And I couldn't tell a joke for like 20 seconds because the room was dying.
it did.
So-
The room did erupt on that one.
so
I'm not taking sides. I think you guys are both hilarious. I think it's just a part of
he's
comedy.
a funny dude.
You know, and it's but to watch it all play out is part of what we do.
Yeah.
You know, independent comedy,
Absolutely.
and that's part of what we're doing now is just showing people, you know, how cool it is.
And you know,
and how fun.
and he was a good sport about it.
Mhm.
You know, even after the first time I walked up, talked to him, he was super cool about it. He came up to me before the set that he did. Yeah, no, you're right. You know, just part of the game, and we all have love for it.
Well, and
So,
there's a level of respect there too,
Absolutely.
because if we all know if you're coming after me, I'm coming after you, and we're gonna,
yeah,
and both of them are going to be funny, and both of
Exactly.
them are going to be creative, and we're probably going to get our feelings hurt. So
whenever you take a swing, you are also teeing somebody up.
Yes,
you got to be ready
exactly.
for it.
Yep.
So
your first open mic was at the Blue Room. We talked about that.
Mhm.
3 months in the game. Inspirations, and what kind of comedy style? Let's go with both of those.
yeah, so one of the big inspirations right now is Shane Gillis.
Mhm.
I really like his style, what he's doing right now, the way he tells his jokes, his cadence. Really into him. I tried to kind of emulate some Nate Bargatze there for a while. Did not work.
Mm.
Nate is very, very famous because he is very, very good at his very specific niche that only he can do.
Mhm.
You cannot do a Nate Bargatze. So hats off to Nate with that. Other inspirations, honestly, would just be, when I was younger, I've always been into SNL. So like I do a lot of topical stuff in mine. I don't really do anything that's too, I guess, controversial. I
Mhm.
guess like a lot of my stuff's pretty tame. I don't really try to like push anybody's buttons. I kind of just want everyone to have a good time.
Right. So what about the one about you kissing your mom though?
That one's tough. That one's tough.
And I think I've heard you go a little bit further than that too. Maybe not so much controversial. But
Listen. Mics are practices for seeing what works and what doesn't. And
yeah.
I've tried some things that maybe would make what I just said sound like a lie.
Right.
but you gotta stretch your legs.
Has your mom ever heard you tell that joke? There really is a joke
Yes.
about that. Has your mom ever heard you tell that?
No. So my parents have actually not heard my comedy at all. What they've told me.
You still want to be able to use their credit card and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I just got my own insurance, but like I still need them for laundry and stuff.
Right.
So they have told me they're gonna come to a show, but they're not gonna tell me which because they want to sneak in and see me authentically doing my comedy, which terrifies me. I don't think I can do it. My dad is a deacon and my grandfather is a pastor, which is the kind of family I'm from. So I'm always on guard. I'm always on my toes.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be real interesting.
Yeah.
And that means, we haven't even seen all the stuff that's going to come out of you yet.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot cocked in the chamber.
That's great.
That I'm worried about.
That you're worried about.
Yeah.
That's even, ooh, be worried. I'm ready. Let's see here, man. You're booking shows. That's awesome. You're booked already out through March. How much time are you doing at these shows?
So it varies. Do you want me to say dates and
if you want
shows?
to?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got March 1st. I've got Beefy Stool Comedy in Joplin, Bites and Pipes. I'll be doing 7 there, I believe.
Okay.
Week after that, I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas for Boston Mountain Brewery. I'll be doing 10 to 15 for that
Nice.
show. Weekend after that, March 16th, a Saturday, I will be at the Bird Comedy Theater in Kansas City.
Nice.
That'll also be 10 to 15, I believe. The 22nd, I'll be in Columbia for 8 minutes for the Fretboard Comedy Jam. And then the show that we're doing in West Plains on April 5th.
Yes.
So
That's going to be a big show too. They say that like 20,000 people come through that whole weekend.
wow.
And we are going to be in loose competition with the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. So
Yes. Yeah.
I feel sorry for the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Headliners, baby.
We'll send some people your way once we're done with them. Okay, guys?
we appreciate the collaboration there. Ozark
Definitely.
Mountain.
And then I'll run over and I will play harmonica on whatever you want me to. I know all your songs. Let's do Chicken Train.
Chicken Train?
Speaking of SNL, that's one of your goals, right? What do you?
Yeah.
I asked him a minute ago. I'm like, what do you want to do with comedy? He's like, well, it's pretty specific.
Yeah. It is kind of weirdly specific. So, like a lot of comedians, I want to do Saturday Night Live. That's the primary dream. I've just always been infatuated with that show since I was, super young. I mentioned the family being a very church family, so I would stay up late without them knowing on Saturdays to watch as a kid and stuff. I want to do that, and then where it gets like hyper specific is I want to have a Bill Hader-esque mini resurgence, or even like Mulaney a little bit, or like Sandler, where they do primarily comedy, but there's like some serious stuff sprinkled in there, like Hader getting his own HBO show. Sandler will do a bunch of funny movies, but then will occasionally throw in like uncut gems or something. That's like the grand plan, is primarily comedy after SNL, but then occasionally being like, oh, I can do the serious thing as well, and just kind of broaden it a bit.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously other people think he's funny too. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting booked on these shows. So look him up, Brayden Jones. Instagram, you got that?
Yeah, Instagram is at bdjones15.
There it is.
Which is super snappy for you guys. And then Facebook is just Brayden Jones. So looking to diversify social media soon. I need to get on it.
I bet if you guys go to those links, you're going to find a whole lot more about Brayden, and that means I don't have to say anything right now. So I want to thank Brayden for doing this, man. Yeah. It's been awesome.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited for the show on the 5th.
Yes.
Thanks again to both you and Erik for your guys' insights. Appreciate that.
I'm glad you're not bombing anymore. You don't have to ask for advice about that.
Not bombing as much. But awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Check him out, Brayden Jones.
Are they gone? They were trying to give me a bath.